studio by Honorable Worlase Kpeli, Independent Member of Parliament for Kwehua from Plains and a member of the Communications Committee of Parliament. Many thanks for joining us, Honorable.
Thank you, Madam.
Great. So, first off, is the Communications Committee aware of the challenges these radio stations were facing?
I would say the past weekend was the workshop for the Communication Committee, Select Committee on Communication and Information. And during the workshop, we had some indications, some of the regulations and rules governing electronic communications were not applied, were not adhered to by applicants for licenses and activities with regards to those regulations. But actually, the minister gave us an indication he was going to find a remedy to it. But his statement on the floor today established the fact that he had arrived at some remedies to curb such happenings within our electronic media, and that's what we all heard today.
So the Communications Committee was not pre-informed?
He didn't have to inform us on the measures. He only had to inform the committee about what the situation is. And if he takes a measure and he brings it to the floor, we would all have to speak to it and then adhere to it.
Okay. How do you interpret the president's decision to offer clemency to the radio stations, the affected radio stations?
The president, with his prerogative, goes through the minister. And whatever he communicates to the minister on a standpoint of the minister becomes that which should be respected. If he does so, then that's it. But if he doesn't, then the full rules would apply.
Right. Critics have described, the sequence of revoking licenses and later granting clemency as political optics. What's your view on that?
You know what? We're trying to reset a country. We're trying to build a home. We're trying to build a country. And these activities move with rules and regulations. The day we try to put leniency on some activities, it gives leeway to other operators to move into that space of leniency and act contrary to the resetting of the country. But well, we live in a society where social contracts enables us to waive some regulations because of the relationship among the people we live in. But I think that if it becomes too much, it will become a problem for a country resetting itself.
All right. So as a member of the Communications Committee, what will you do to ensure that a fair and transparent process is done so that allows the stations to regularize their process?
I think it's overdue for the regulating authority to find a means of one-stop button shop of dealing with issues of this kind. You see, I think your last caller I heard on your news was talking about how the NCA had not written to him, yes, and how they were not communicated to. But actually, legally, when you apply for a license, you know the expiry date of the license. It ceases to operate the very day you go beyond the expiry date. And so it wouldn't lie in the confines of the regulatory authority to write back to you to tell you that your license is what? It's expired. But I think maybe that might have been the norm. And that is why someone might have been looking forward for an official communication before thinking that my license has expired or not, which shouldn't be the case, actually. And so I think the operation of the law at this time is looking harsh in the face of the public because it had not been the norm of the day. But I think somewhere in the last 8 years, this kind of operation started taking effects during the time of the former minister, Madam Osla Ozu. So I think she cracked the whip somehow, and others thought it was harsh. Others read political meanings into it, but you couldn't talk. It went that way. And I think this is what we are inheriting today, and now it has become the norm. And if you don't adhere to it, but I think the minister today was was okay exploring the liberal aspect of giving timeline for regularization. I think if the stations and the media companies are head to that, it will be good for the country.
The sector minister did mention that there were over 600 radio stations and some remain dormant. Do you believe it's time we sanitize Ghana's broadcasting space?
That is exactly so, because the spectrum has become so choked. And some have the licenses and the waves and do not use them. For what reason they keep them, no one knows. And it's not good for business, it's not good for media as the fourth estate of the country as we see it now. It means it is hijacked by some people who think they have the power to acquire it, and they acquire it and then they leave it unused. It doesn't augur well for a country like us.
So you think we should sanitize the space?
Exactly.
All right. So finally, the minister also revealed that some MPs had contacted him suggesting their personal or political interests were affected. Now, this raises broader questions about partisan ownership of media space. From your perspective, how should Parliament and stakeholders respond to this?
When it comes to MPs, they are individuals in their own stake. And it's by the fact of being elected as member of parliament, that's how come they represent the public eye. Before they became MPs, they were individuals, and they might have had interest in some electronic media as we see now. So their comment might be in the individual consignment they think they would want to have. But as the oversight responsibility of a legislator, the rules must be applied. So it's in our best interest as MPs, rather, to do the first work of regularizing ourselves in the eyes of the public. Then we can now crack the whip on those who offended.
There's the view that some media houses are just set up to do the bidding of specific political parties.
No, for political extremism, it's something we see in the media always. Though sometimes I feel it goes extreme. But what can you do about it? For the agendas of every political party, someone must communicate. And that's how come we have media houses that communicate political agenda. But it's all in the effect. What it does is that it spices the dynamic of the society from angles that people speak. It is only when it becomes one-sided that it becomes a little worrying. Then you are not able to express the view on the opposing side for things to go the right way. But so far, so good. Ghana, I've been to some African countries. I've lived there, I've practiced even law at some of the countries. Media is not so liberated the way we have in Ghana. And so I would say for our democracy, so far, so good. But the extreme part of it is that when the extremists gets hold of it, it can be dire to our existence.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, Honorable. We appreciate your time.
I'm on it.
All right.